Hello there. Despite the UK government maintaining a low profile on this one, the battles over the EU-UK AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine contracts continue. Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost, and I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back daily, and a big thanks to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. Another day dawns and we still have unhappy EU bunnies hopping angrily about, demanding that UK vaccines be diverted into the European Union. And they will be especially keen to do that now that the EU Medicines Agency has approved the use of the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine for use with all adults across the bloc. And to back up its claim on our vaccines, the EU Commission has published a redacted copy of the contract it has with AstraZeneca to supply the vaccines. But the EU Commission has also just announced this afternoon that it is putting in place a so-called transparency and authorisation mechanism for exports of COVID-19 vaccines out of the European Union, something that might affect the delivery of the Pfizer vaccine to the UK, even if there's a contract in place and money has been handed over, with the Commission saying, "This implementing act, adopted by urgency procedure and published today, provides for authorisations of exports outside the EU of COVID-19 vaccines until the end of March 2021. And the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said, "The pandemic is having devastating effects in Europe and all around the world. Protecting the health of our citizens remains our utmost priority, and we must put in place the necessary measures to ensure we achieve this. This transparency and authorisation mechanism is temporary, and we will of course continue to uphold our commitments towards low and middle income countries." And the EU Health Commissioner, Stella Kyriakides, made a veiled reference to the AstraZeneca situation, saying, "Commitments need to be kept, and contracts are binding. Advance purchase agreements need to be respected. Today we have developed a system that will allow us to know whether vaccines are being exported from the EU. This increased transparency will also come with the responsibility for the EU to authorise, with our member states, these vaccine exports." There is also a list of exempt countries, and as far as I can see, the UK does not feature on it. Sounds like a vaccine trade war is in the making. Now for some background. I'm not a qualified lawyer, but as I understand it, a licence agreement was made between AstraZeneca and Oxford University Innovation Limited on the 17th of May 2020. And it appears that there may be up to 12 agreements between AstraZeneca and Oxford University. Now, this licence agreement gives the UK government, or more accurately the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, certain rights through a central government body. I've also read, but been unable to verify, that the UK government has gained a legal assurance somewhere along the line that the UK has first call on these vaccines, but as I say, I found no proof of that. Anyway, as a result of all of this, the UK entered into a supply agreement with AstraZeneca for the supply of vaccines for use domestically and for poorer nations. This contract of supply, which I mentioned in yesterday's video, is dated the 28th of August 2020, whereas the new published EU Advanced Purchase Agreement is dated the 27th of August, the day before the UK one. And as it's being reported that the UK signed an agreement with AstraZeneca 3 months before the EU did, then I assume they're talking about the licence agreement that was signed in May, or some other contract that I haven't seen yet. So it might be that whatever is in those is key to this whole issue. One quick point is that the EU contract is with AstraZeneca AB in Sweden, and the UK contract is with AstraZeneca UK Limited. But as they are subsidiaries of the same company, then that might make no difference at all. Anyway, the EU is claiming that their contract with AstraZeneca is binding, and that because the UK vaccine factories are specifically mentioned in the contract, then any shortfall the EU suffers must come at the expense of UK vaccine supply. So it seems that the EU view is that UK vaccines are inside their single market. Now, both the EU and UK contracts are made on the basis of AstraZeneca using best reasonable efforts, with the term being defined the same way in both contracts. But in the EU contract, it is also stipulated that both Brussels and the member states have to use their best reasonable efforts to support the company. I wonder if they have. Now, the offending clause in the EU AstraZeneca contract is 5.4, where it says under manufacturing sites, AstraZeneca shall use its best reasonable efforts to manufacture the vaccine at manufacturing sites located within the EU, which for the purposes of this section 5.4 only shall include the United Kingdom. Now, under Schedule A, there is a list of the production sites, but it is heavily redacted, but it does say some of them are in the UK. That tells us that the plan was always to use the UK vaccine plants to supply the EU. Yes, that's right, the UK was always going to be exporting millions of doses of vaccines from UK plants to the EU. And Boris Johnson would, or should, have been fully aware of that situation. But my question would be, does it work the other way too? Say one or more of the UK vaccine manufacturing plants failed, would the UK have a call on EU supplies? And I ask this because if the EU did manage to filch our vaccines now, can we get them back later? And without a legal clause somewhere, you know what the answer from Brussels would be on that one. But I'm not saying that the EU has got its fingers into our supplies. I'm just saying we were always going to be supplying the EU with vaccines. But how many is the question? AstraZeneca would have had an idea of the daily numbers of doses it would be making in the UK and sending to the EU, as well as the maximum amount it could expect to extract from UK vaccine factories without interrupting UK supply. So if that maximum amount were diverted to the EU, would that mean that best reasonable efforts had been made by the company to fulfil the EU order? Or would the courts view it as one huge plant that has to divvy out what vaccines they have on a per capita basis across the EU and UK, meaning UK supplies would suddenly plummet? The UK opted out of this mess, and we should not be tied into it. The UK got on with sorting out its own supplies, and all the EU can do is set up bureaucracy, lawfare and export blocks. But the EU has Nicola Sturgeon on its side. The Telegraph is reporting that she's considering releasing vaccine supply data into the public domain after receiving flack for her slow inoculation programme. Nicola Sturgeon has been accused of siding with the EU in its battle with the UK over vaccine doses, with the Scottish First Minister pledging to publish confidential vaccine data despite warnings that the information could jeopardise the UK's supply, says the Telegraph report. So instead of getting on with the vaccine programme in Scotland, it seems Sturgeon would rather damage the interests of the UK, and is so short-sighted she can't see the damage it would do to the people of Scotland. And already the statistics speak for themselves. 11% of the English population has been vaccinated, 9.9% of the Welsh, 8.9% of the Northern Irish, but only 8.4% of the Scots. With everyone in Scotland apparently saying how wonderful Nicola Sturgeon is during this pandemic. But the Telegraph also reports that 1 million vaccine doses are already in Scotland or ready to be sent there at a day's notice. So why only 462,092 vaccinations as of mid this week? So it's about time the press and opposition parties in Scotland took the gloves off and tackled her and the SNP on their record. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it by following the link in the descriptions box below and support me on Patreon or PayPal. So what do you think about this ongoing vaccination spat? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.